Well, hello everyone. Delighted to welcome you to the latest secondary CAS Inspire webinar. This one is entitled Using Computing Competitions to Enthuse and Inspire. And delighted also to welcome a really great panel today who will share their experiences on computing competitions and the impact that these have had on their students. So if you don't know who I am, my name is Tim. I work in the outreach team at Computing at School, and as outreach managers, we are responsible for the regional growth and delivery of Computing at School and our Community of Practice programme across the UK. And I cover the West and East Midlands regions and a little bit of the Southwest, and I'm delighted to have two of our austere community leaders here from the Southwest today. As well as hosting, I will be keeping an eye on questions and comments coming in. So a little bit about our panel. So first up, we will have Teresa. Teresa Shaw is a subject leader of computing at Denmark Road High School in Gloucester, and Teresa's been at the school since 2005 and has built computer science up to where it is now, teaching all years 7 to 13. And Teresa is also a co-community leader for Cheltenham and Gloucester secondary community. Tony Gilbert. Tony has 12 years of teaching computing in further education with a passion for physical and unplugged computing. Tony is a lead Intel visionary and shares good practice on physical computing projects, and is also the secondary lead for CAS Swindon Mixed Community, digital house lead teacher, and has recently moved into a new role as curriculum manager for professional digital at New College Swindon. And Toby, who will be with us hopefully shortly, Toby is a highly experienced computing and science teacher, has many awards to his name, such as a Pearson National Training Award for Digital Innovator of the Year. Tony is a project manager and designer of a computing and robotics centre called Ferntech. £1.5 million, he said, spent over 4 years to bring digital engineering to all, and is also managing Dorset's first centre to offer T-level provision, and very much around sort of curriculum development and placement for provision for young people through T-levels. So those are our three speakers. If you have questions as we go along, please, we have a questions tab, which you'll find here, find in the box. Toby has just arrived. Hello, Toby. Please put questions in the questions tab, and if we find time at the end, we will ask these questions to our panel. And also, I will share the social media handles of our speakers today as well in the chat shortly. So I'm gonna be quiet now, and I'm gonna hand you over to Teresa, who will kick things off. Teresa, it's all yours.
Thank you. Hopefully you can all hear me. Can you? Yeah?
Yes,
is it working? Thank you. And you can see my presentation, yes?
Yes, indeed.
Cool, that's brilliant. Is that working?
You might need to activate the slideshow.
Activate the slideshow. I thought I had activated the slideshow.
Oh, Max, there you go. There you go. Okay. You're in. Sorted.
I'm in. Right, okie dokie. So as Tim said, I'm me, and I've been here forever. We were having a conversation today how many members of staff has been here for just as long as I have, because it's scarily in this school there's more people who've been here longer than me. When I came, of course, it was ICT. We've gone through the pain of swapping to computing, but that to me was better because I was a programmer to start with. I went through the pain when I swapped to my PGCE, so I'm doing the ICT side. So to me, it's been a real pleasure to actually build up computer science, and it's really nice now because this place feels like it's happy with computer science. And the ways I did it in some ways is actually using the competitions for doing it. I am quite mean because the competitions I do, these are the three main ones. There's odd little ones that come up and I'll just throw at the kids and go, wait, and email in this place is brilliant. I usually get 2 or 3 picking up emails, and doing competition. But these are the three main ones that I've done that actually have helped with computer science development. So the three main ones I do is BBrass, Cyber First Girls Competition, and the AWS Arts Competition. And all three of them have made it different and made it better in different ways. So BBrass, it always happens in November. So next year's one's the 7th to the 18th of November. I found the date which is amazing. It's an online competition. So basically you get them to log on for a 40 minutes times test that's timed by the actual website. And there's different levels depending on age. So it actually starts at Key Stage 2. And I think they've even started a Key Stage 1 right the way up to Key Stage 5. And so I do it for a whole school. And I enter each year. So year 7 go in for junior year, 8 and 9 do intermediate, then 10 and 11 do senior, and then the 6th one do the elite. But I enter them. It's in my scheme of learning, because I literally do, in year 7 they do a week of practice, and then they do the test the following week, or the competition the following week, and the rest of them do it as a homework because they've done it before and they need a little bit of reminding normally. But it's there to do computational thinking, so it's problem solving, and it's great because it proves to us, and it's weird because it picks out our SEND a lot because they're the ones who can problem solve the most but don't think they can. And it's brilliant when they come up and they get the top of the levels. It's just been really nice to see it. Now it's done in certificates, but it's done within schools, which is a little bit of a backfiring for us, because of course, being a grammar school, you'd expect us to be the top end. And so the top 25% of the school get the distinction certificates and merit, etc. So I always have to go back to the national numbers to say to the girls, actually, you may have only been a participation, I can't say that word, in school. However, nationally, you were probably a distinction or a merit, but it's actually really helped us get problem solving back on it, and making them realise that computer science isn't just programming. But then again, I then say it is, but it gets them going. It does lead on to the Oxford University Coding Challenge, which is on this week, which I haven't got around to organising this year because everything else has taken over, but it's been really good for all of it, for people to do it. Of course, Cyber First Girls Competition. Year 8 in this place get everything, because I actually do a Cyber Day as well, where I get companies to come in and see Year 8, but it's that bit before they go into Year 9, before they start doing their options. But Year 8 have got the Cyber First Girls Competition, which is the national competition run by national NCSC. It's all online. I literally send out emails going, it's on this, and it's teams of up to 4. They work through the challenges for when it's in the qualifying, and it is hard. Some of the final challenges I just struggle with, and I know I'm not a cybersecurity specialist, but some of them, even though we've been doing it for years, I still can't answer because they're that difficult. But they're brilliant because you can get them to research, you can get them working teams. It's everything I have. The way that I do it is I open the IT suites every lunch and after school. But what I'm finding is, because I've done it for so long now, the older years come in and go, they hear it's Cyber First and go, can we come and help? And I go, would I stop you? And so I get the older years coming into the younger years to help them out, mainly because they still want to try and solve the problems they didn't solve last year or their year. But it means it's now turned into a thing that just keeps going, because they keep helping each other, and it's brilliant that way because it's made it across the school, across years, and it means that the years actually do talk to each other, which is really unusual in a secondary school. The only thing is, it is very techy, but Google is your friend. That is what you need to remember for Cyber First. So if you've never done it before, it's really easy to sign up when the emails go around. Keep an eye on their websites. Just do a search for the Cyber First Girls. The finals were last weekend, so I spent a lovely day in one of those secure places in Cheltenham, and they just had all the finals. But this year there's a finalist per area. But it's been brilliant because they do then get the opportunity to carry on, and it really fires them up. I have on average 8 to 10 teams. Even in lockdown, I got 10 teams. So that's another one I do. The last one I've been doing for the last couple of years, and I think I'm the furthest west that does this, because it is very a London southeast one, is the AWS Arts Competition. It's basically the Amazon's Arts. It's again for Year 8, but this one's a longer one, whereas the Cyber First is literally a week. or 10 days. This one starts in October through to March, and it's brilliant because they actually give you a STEM ambassador to actually come in and talk to them. So this year we've got somebody who's on the medical side of AWS, and so completely different, and it gives them an idea. So what they have to do is develop an app for an idea. It's never coded, but it does go through and it is presented. So within school, I've got 7 teams at the moment still doing it, and it is purely the design side. So they literally go from, this is your idea, so they have to create an app that would help their community. And of course, community is so big that that takes them a while to get their head around. Then all they have to do is decide what it's going to do. So they have to do the storyboards, they then do the layouts, but they never code it, because, and I find that's really good because I've got different people from year 8 doing that to what I had for the Cyber First competition, because they'd look at the Cyber First and go, I can't do this. So it's been really good for encouraging people to look at computer science, but from the other side of it, and making them realize that actually games and apps, it's not the techies that are almost in control of it, it's what they look like and how that they are used. So they're the 3 main ones. I have over the years looked at the things like the Cyber Centurion, but I have trouble with the network doing that. And the further up, they used to do the Cyber Discovery. Of course, that's gone, and we're just waiting for them to replace that. But they are the 3 main ones that I do, and it's really helped because the girls have realised that actually they can do it, and that I've got people now, well, a few years above now, that have gone through these competitions and now are doing apprenticeships, now are doing everything in the top end. So it has actually gone through and helped big time, especially the Cyber First ones. They've got known by the people so that when they go for the apprenticeships, they're known so that they can do it. But it's just really opened it all up to them. It's not just what I teach in school. There's other stuff out there. Is that all right? I will stop presenting.
Cool, and I will turn my mic back on. Teresa, fantastic. Thank you so much. I wonder how many of you use any of those apps. AWS Apps is quite new to me. I actually don't know too much about it, so thank you for that one in particular.
It's literally, I don't know how I got onto it, but it's mostly London because that's where they can get the STEM ambassadors from, but it's well worth looking it up.
Brilliant, thank you. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Would it be better, I don't know if I'll be controversial here, Tony, if I let Toby go next? Is that okay, Tony?
That's absolutely fine.
Cool. So, Toby, I'm just going to make you a presenter, and then you'll be able to share your slides. Is that okay? Is your mic on? Oh, I can't hear you. Can't hear you yet.
I still seem to be
presenter. You're on. Yeah, you're on. I should be able to hear you now, Toby. Sorry. Oh. Oh. Can we hear? Is it me? Can anyone else hear him yet? Hear Toby yet? No. Oh.
Hello.
Hello. Yes. Hi. I was hearing you just then, Toby.
Yeah, good.
Cool. I'll make you presenter. You should be able to share your screen now.
Okay. So what do I click? Do I click show?
Yep. There's also a drop-down box if you need it as well. If you're.
First time this app's, I've just got to give permission because it's going to now back me out of the meeting. Sorry, I'll be back.
Okay, no worries. We love technical problems. What I'll do is I'll edit this so it looks seamless, like it never happened. So the video will get edited. It's quite cool.
Can you hear
Hi,
me?
Toby. Yes, I can.
Brilliant. Okay, it's all sorted. So,
do I need to make you presenter again?
Sorry. The first time this computer's used that software, it didn't like the permissions. screen.
There we go.
Okay, so different thing. I'm sharing this. So
Yep.
I was asked
Perfect.
I was asked today to present about our extracurricular provision here. And much like Teresa's story, a number of years ago, computing wasn't very big in this school. So once we did get the courses implemented, we realized there was a demand amongst the students to start some kind of extracurricular activity. We actually started with the PA Raspberry Pi National Coding Competition. I'm not going to talk about that today, but that was kind of the first thing that we did, and we came second in the UK in our category in our first attempt, which wasn't too bad. But after going to that event, we realised that our students didn't have as much access to extracurricular resources and funding as some of the other students we saw at the competition. Some of them come from private schools or grammar schools, which seem to have much more funded facilities. So it actually drove me to seek funding from lots of different places, bursaries, and over the 4 years, I've actually secured now £1.5 million for our department. We're building a new building in the summer. And actually this was all driven by me seeing what other extracurricular activities were done elsewhere. It obviously is partly used for, well, mainly used for our curriculum delivery, but this is all sort of interlinked and helps sell the school, sell the department, and help secure funding. So the main things we do in terms of the specific activities, we are part of the first UK competitions. So we do the first tech challenge competition, which is robotics, where students create a robot. And I can show you that in a moment once I've finished the presentation. I've got one next to me. And we actually aim this competition at our girls because we found that girls weren't picking computing as proactively. And by making it girl specific and inviting them when they join the school, so we're an upper school, we don't have years 7 and 8. We got the girls in year 9 in. Our computer science GCSE, we have 2 classes this year, hopefully 3 in September per year group. We've now got 40% girls, and it's all on the back of this taking part in the extracurricular activities. So that has driven that. We also take part in the first Lego League, which is obviously much more well known, and the boys do that. So we keep it gender specific. It seems to make the kids, the girls particularly, they prefer it to be gender specific, which helps with our retaining our students. And so in our first year, just before COVID, we became regional champions in the first tech challenge, which was fantastic. But then COVID happened, and obviously lots of things have gone on that prevented certain competition levels of competition in our area. But we've carried on, and the club's got bigger. We've now got 40 girls that take part in the club. We're now a regional champion school. So once everything's back to normal, we'll hopefully host our regional competition here. And we have an arena where the students build their robots. They get judged on taking part in a game, and it's different each year what the game is in this big 4x4 meter arena. But they also get judged on how they work together as a team, how they pitch certain ideas, and how they've managed their project and documented it throughout the year. So it's a big thing that is assessed. It's not just the competition, and then they can proceed to national finals and world finals if they get that far. And it's all from the first UK charity. This was set up in 2018. It's different from the first Tech Challenge, which I think is supported by the first Lego League, which is supported by the IET at the moment. I think it's sponsored by them. So this is different. And in terms of funding, it's quite expensive, but they provide you bursaries so that you get it for free. So you apply for bursaries if your school hasn't taken part before, and they'll send you £2,000 or £3,000 worth of equipment, which is great. And we've managed to secure local companies sponsoring our teams, including big companies with quite big sponsorship deals. So we've actually raised over 3 years about £24,000 in supporting the club, which we're now at a point where it sort of sustains itself in terms of that. We haven't charged the children a thing. And then we're hoping this year to obviously take part in the regional and national finals. The whole point of the competition is that they design this robot, they then build the engineer, they're physically engineering something, I'll show you it at the end, and they program it. That's obviously where the main computer bit comes in, and they program it in a kind of Java block language. So it's quite straightforward. The competition is for year 8s up to year 13s. And so when we went to the regional finals, and they were in year 9 at the time, they actually beat the sixth form teams in the final stage of that, which is quite interesting. So age is not really a barrier as long as the students are quite good at what they're doing. And this is the typical sort of how a season looks like. However, because of COVID this year, it's sort of skewed, and they launched the national competition from January this year and sort of pushed it along a bit, but it's still the same principle. And the students have a maker space that they have online, and they log everything they do, and that is actually judged as part of the competition. And there's different awards for community work. So all our students take part in outreach. So they design outreach classes from year 4s, 5s and 6s, 7s and 8s. So that sort of age range, to do with engineering and computing. And we either go into schools or invite them here, and the children run that, and that's gone down quite well. I mentioned the engineering notebook. The Makerspace, that's an online portal that supports the teacher, all the lessons and the guides there. It's actually quite well supported for teachers. It's a massive competition, something crazy like 100,000 teams worldwide take part. It's really big. And there are events if the pandemic's not going on. So this year, it looks like there will be events, which is fantastic. However, if you can't do the events and attend, they give the arena to the school to lend for a couple of days, and they do a remote event. They can do that virtually, which is what they've done with some schools over the last few years. As I say, there's lots of awards they can win, which obviously awards as many people as possible, including on their community work and things like that. And there's other resources that FIRST provide, including a robotic simulator, which I'm currently helping them develop for lessons for teaching coding for Key Stage 3. So more information will come out of that, because it can be used in normal teaching without having to be part of the competition. So that's another thing that they offer. Yeah, that's it really. That makes sense.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah, that's great, and lots of insight. Especially, I've just tweeted about the First Tech Challenge. Yeah, I know it's quite very popular. So thank you. That's great. Right, our final speaker today. Let me give you the reins and the powers, Toby. Hold on, Tony.
Yeah, I have to go now because I'm in the middle of a parents' evening.
No worries at all. Appreciate it. Thank you, Toby.
Bye bye.
Okay, get Toby. Don't say it so quickly. Tony, I've just made you presenter. Oh, I think you're on mute. Are you able to unmute yourself? Says I'm muted by organizer. Well, I've muted you. How dare I? Let me unmute you. Hold on 1 second. There you go.
Hello, thank you, Tim.
I don't know why I did that. I don't know how I did that, or why I did that. That's brilliant. Fantastic.
Okay, can everyone see my screen?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect. So that was great from Teresa and Toby. So I'm actually going to start off by or sort of giving some advice to teachers about setting up competitions. Then I'm going to spend a bit of time talking about the Digital Schoolhouse esports competition that we're involved in, and that we have been for a number of years. So I think, from my perspective as a CAS sort of community leader, we talk about the Cyber First competitions and the Raspberry Pi competitions, but it's about school leaders and teachers having that confidence of the impact and the confidence moving forward of planning successful competitions that's going to enrich the student. Now, I'm a strong believer that we can't just teach the curriculum and expect students to go away and progress. They need something else. So one thing that I sort of over a number of years, I've looked at our computing curriculum at New College Swindon and looked at the intent. What are we trying to do? What can we do? What extra things can we add? And esports was thinking outside the box with our competitions. Obviously, we've been involved with Raspberry Pi competitions and a few other competitions. Now, esports was fairly new to us when we got involved about 4 years ago. And those of you that are not sure about esports, I'll just give you a quick overview. Esports is electronic gaming, and it's a big industry. It's going to be bigger than the music and film industry in a couple of years. So getting students to participate in gaming within computing and outside was a big draw factor. And I'm sure if you go away and have a look at the great work that Digital Schoolhouse have done, and try to run the Digital Schoolhouse esports competition, I'm sure you're going to find that a really big success. So my advice to teachers and school leaders is to think outside the box with competitions and enrichment activities. Do think about resources, but if you come and speak to schools, CAS leaders, we can support and help and give you some advice where to look. And I know Toby's just mentioned all about the sponsorship. Sounds absolutely fantastic, and I'd like to speak to him about how he's managed to get all of that. But there's resources available that we can sort of help with. And I know Teresa and Toby mentioned about students managing and leading competitions themselves. I think that's really, really important. I mean, if you can give the ownership to students and let them be creative in the competitions, I think that's really, really powerful, because the end product is going to be amazing. And think outside the box in terms of including all students, not just computing students. And teachers, I'd encourage you to be brave. And whilst you think, perhaps a robotic competition is out of your comfort zone, get involved and be part of that process. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the esports competition and the impact it's had for our students. And I've got a fact. I might go on to this slide first, then go back to the next one. So for the Digital Schoolhouse esports competition, we were one of the first colleges to be involved in Digital Schoolhouse, and we were one of the first schools/colleges to be involved in an esports competition. So the whole point of the tournament is to allow students to build the softer skills, the confidence, teamworking, problem solving through gaming. That's the common goal there. And obviously with gaming, we looked at different types of games. We looked at different job roles. So there's more to esports than just playing a game. You've got the psychology behind it. You've got the event management. You've got the social media aspect of it. You've got all the tech, the shoutcasting. All of that needs to be sort of considered as well. So over the course of the 4 or 5 years that we've been involved, we've had over 100 students participate each year in the competition. So we hold an internal competition. I use the Smash Brothers competition, which is sponsored by Nintendo, by the way. So we have an internal competition that students take ownership of. That they manage the event, they manage the recording of the games that students play. We give them job roles that's provided to us from Digital Schoolhouse. Digital Schoolhouse also give us an industry expert as a coach to come in and talk to our students about playing the game, but also what it's like working in the esports industry. And we allow students to play until we come up with a winning team, which is also like a mini league, and then we select a winning team which will represent the college at regional finals. For us, it's based in Bristol and the Belong Arena, and then we get to go to a grand final if we're successful, which is Gfinity in London, where the we sort of battle it out for the grand prize. And Digital Schoolhouse, we are national champions for 2020. But the most important thing I would say is that, actually, I'm just going to go back here. The impact of that competition. We have seen learner attendance increase. So we stipulate to students that they have to, if they want to be involved in the competition, that they have to come into lunchtime sessions. We've seen that it's improved our retention for students, enhances subject knowledge, not just esports here, but other competitions, the Raspberry Pi competitions, the Cyber First. Important thing here about softer skills, communication, teamwork. These skills can be transferred to other aspects of the curriculum, and obviously thinking ahead, long-term employment, higher education, self-esteem and confidence. It narrows the gender gap and stereotyping. For the year that we won for the tournament, we had a girl in the winning team. We also had a number of females that were involved in the sort of other important roles, that social media, setting up the event, communication, coaching, and it allows students to have something extra on their CV. Whether or not that's for employment, apprenticeships, university, it's really important, and it just allows students to enjoy computing a bit more. And of course, it goes without saying that the school and the college, it raises the profile for these sorts of competitions. There's two pieces of research that's been sort of published on the Digital Schoolhouse website. So there's a junior esports competition that primary schools can get involved with, and also for secondary school / colleges. Do go and have a look at their website, and I'll pop into the group or into the chat after this. But there's two papers that have been published with the impact of the tournament on the softer skills and what students think and the impact it's had on them. Here's our students at the top there, the winning team, and yeah, just another sort of message really. Don't just think about esports. Felix, one of our digital computing students this year, entered for a app, and it was selected within the top 5,000 by Microsoft, and then was recognised by within Swindon for a Future Tech Superstar Award. So it just goes to show, these competitions, the impact it has on students. So that's it from me.
Wow, that's really inspiring. Good on. Is it Felix? That's how your name's pronounced, Cisco? Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. That's a great story, and some really great tips and advice on considerations for teachers who are using competitions and the impact. So, Tony, thank you so much. We don't have time for questions. If you have asked a question, what I'll do is I'll roll it and roll it to my. I'll ask the panelists after the event to address the questions, and we'll distribute the answers via social media. I think that'll be the best way of doing it. So a quick thank you to Teresa, to Tony, and to Toby for joining us today. We have one more CAS Inspire session on secondary coming up next week, where we've got Nikki and James Turing and Simon Howard talking about the Turing tumbles and developing programming skills with them. And we also have a primary session next week on Scratch progression, and we got brilliant panel, Matt Warren, Ben Davis, and Sarah Taylor, who will be sharing lots of tips around progression routes through Scratch. But other than that, thank you so much for coming today. I hope you enjoyed the session, and please feedback on the CAS discussion, CAS online discussions forum. And yeah, appreciate your time. There will be a feedback form that will open as soon as I close this event today. So thank you so much. And Teresa, Tony, and Toby, thank you. Have a good afternoon, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.